This is the story of a bear who came to visit New York City. He took tentative steps off the bus and onto the bustling 8th Avenue. Cars whizzed by, horns honking. People hurried along the sidewalk, some taking pictures of the big buildings. Our hero adjusted his backpack and took another step forward, then another, each one more confident than the last. He soon made it to the corner and marveled at the towering skyscraper across the street, so tall that its top was hidden behind the clouds. He'd never seen anything like it. He continued down the avenue, passing pizza shops with huge slices of cheesy goodness displayed in the window. The smell was incredible, but he couldn't stop now. There was so much more to see. As he rounded the corner onto 47th Street, he found himself right in the middle of Times Square. Huge billboards with bright, colorful pictures of musicals and new movies loomed over him from every direction. A costumed Elmo character danced for pictures with awestruck children, while a group of people stood entranced by the flashing lights and towering figures of the New Year's Eve ball. Our hero had never seen so much excitement in one place. He just stood there for a long time, soaking it all in. Then he heard the joyful squeals of children playing and the soft whoosh of wind pulling kites high above their heads. Intrigued, he followed the sound and saw a group of kids flying colorful diamond-shaped kites in Central Park. One girl let out a triumphant yell when her red kite soared higher and higher. It looked like so much fun. He wanted to try. A friendly-looking woman with gray hair and a purple umbrella noticed him staring at the kites. "They look like they're having fun, don't they?" she said with a warm smile. "It's a beautiful day for it." He nodded shyly, then surprised himself by asking, "Could I try?" The woman's smile widened. "Of course," she said. "I'll even show you how." She led him to a nearby spot where a gentle breeze ruffled the trees. Then she handed him a blue kite with a yellow tail. "Hold it like this," she instructed, showing him how to make the diamond shape. He tried to mimic her movements, but his hands were too big and clumsy. "Don't worry," the woman said, chuckling. "It takes a bit of practice. Just take your time and let the wind guide you." He took a deep breath and focused on making the perfect diamond shape. Slowly but surely, he got the hang of it. And when he let out the string, the kite lifted up and away. He let out a yell of triumph as he watched it soar through the air, the blue tail streaming behind it like a ribbon. After a while, he handed the kite back to the woman. "Thank you," he said. "That was amazing." "The pleasure was all mine," she replied. "I'm glad you enjoyed it." As he walked away, he heard her call after him, "Have a wonderful day in the city." He waved and smiled. "You too." He continued his adventure, strolling through the park and taking in the sights and sounds. As the afternoon wore on, he decided it was time to explore more parts of the city. He left the park and headed toward the subway entrance. Down below, the air was cool and smelled like old books and stale coffee. The deep rumble of arriving trains echoed through the tunnels. He bought a ticket and stepped onto the platform. When the train pulled up, he joined the throngs of people getting on. The doors slid open and he entered. Inside, it was hot and crowded. People clung to the hand straps hanging from the ceiling. He stood close to the door, gripping his backpack strap tightly as the train lurched and swayed. As they traveled deeper underground, the tunnel walls seemed to close in around him. He felt a sudden urge to escape the darkness and get some fresh air. but he knew he'd only have a few stops left before he could get off. So he squeezed his eyes shut and waited for it to be over. When the train finally screeched to a halt and the doors opened, he stumbled out onto the platform and into the sunlight. He'd made it to Times Square again, but from a different direction. Looking up, he saw the huge screens on the buildings were now filled with images of superheroes, instead of the Broadway shows and movie trailers that were there before. A family walked by, pointing out the differences between the two plazas. A young boy tugged on his father's hand, shouting, "Look, Daddy, Spider-Man." His dad chuckled and rued, "Yes, he sure is high up there, huh?" The father's words echoed in his mind, "High up there." He looked up at the buildings around him and realized something. They weren't just tall, they were impossibly, unbelievably tall. Skyscrapers scraped the sky, and windows glittered like stars fallen to earth. As he stood there mesmerized, a red double-decker bus rumbled past, its loud brakes making him jump. He'd come to New York to experience everything, even the scary parts. He knew that if he went back home, he would always wonder what it would have been like to see the city on its busiest street. With a deep breath, he crossed the road and boarded the bus. Inside, it was just as hot and smelly as the subway car, but now there was also the sweet aroma of roasted nuts and hot dogs. He took a seat near the front and watched as the city whizzed by. He saw yellow taxis weaving through traffic, their horns blaring. He saw street vendors pushing carts piled high with pretzels, hot dogs, and fluffy cotton candy. He saw groups of tourists snapping pictures of everything they passed. And he saw people of all colors, shapes, and sizes going about their daily lives. He saw an old man with a white beard feeding pigeons in the park. He saw a group of teenagers laughing and playing basketball. He saw a young woman in a business suit rushing to catch a train. He saw a family of 4 walking hand in hand, and he saw countless other scenes that told the story of the city and its people. As the bus rumbled along, he kept thinking about all the things he wanted to see: the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, the Brooklyn Bridge. But first, he needed to rest. He got off the bus at a park and spread out his blanket on the grass. He ate his sandwiches while watching families play frisbee. Couples stroll hand in hand, and dogs bark and play. When he was done eating, he set off again, this time to Battery Park. As he approached the dock, he could hear the excited screams of tourists boarding the ferry to Liberty Island. He joined the line and waited patiently for his turn. When it was finally his turn, he climbed aboard and took a seat. As the ferry pulled away from the dock, he gasped at the sight of the Statue of Liberty. She stood tall and proud in the distance, her torch held high in the air. Her face was kind and welcoming, her eyes sparkling with wisdom and understanding. In that moment, he knew that he was truly in America, the land of opportunity and freedom. The wind whipped through his fur as the boat sailed past Ellis Island, where millions of immigrants had once arrived seeking a better life. He thought about how brave they must have been to leave everything they knew behind and start over in a new country. He also thought about how lucky he was to be alive and experiencing all of this. As the sun began to set, he knew it was time to head back. He got off the ferry and walked slowly toward the bus station. The city lights twinkled all around him. The tall buildings seemed to lean in close, sharing their secrets with the night. The streets were filled with the sounds of music, laughter, and chatter. He felt a sense of adventure and excitement coursed through him. This city never slept, and neither did he. Under the soft glow of the street lamps, he continued his adventure, eager to see what else the city had in store for him. He didn't know where he was going, but he didn't need to know. All that mattered was that he was exploring, discovering, and experiencing everything the city had to offer. And so he walked on, his heart filled with curiosity and his steps filled with newfound courage. For in the city, anything was possible. The end.